I want to share something that has been sitting with me for a while now. I've been meditating on a passage in the book of Matthew chapter 6 verse 24. And the more I have sat with it, the more I have felt a deep conviction that is something we need to hear. Now, I am not talking about a financial sermon or a guilt trip about money, but more as a wake-up call about something far more serious, a spiritual reality that Jesus himself named and warned us about. But what Jesus actually say? In a Sermon on the Mount, one of the most important teachings Jesus ever gave, he made a statement, a very strong and bold statement that actually stopped me in my tracks. He says this: no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the others. You cannot serve God and Mammon. Now, if you are reading this from the NIV or the NLT version, your Bible will use the word money instead of mammon. And that is an okay translation. But something important is lost when we make that swap. Because Jesus did not use the ordinary Greek word for money. He used a specific Aramaic word, which is mammon. And that word mammon, the choice that Jesus put on use for mammon is extremely important. So let's look at mammon and what it actually means. The Aramaic word mammon does not simply mean cash currency money. It carries the meaning of that in which you place your confidence, the things that you trust, the things that you depend on, the things that you look to for security and for significance. So when Jesus says you cannot serve God and Mammon, he is not just giving financial advice. What Jesus does, he is exposing a loyalty problem. He is exposing actually a worship problem. Jesus is saying wealth, when it becomes the things you trust and serve, function as a god. And as a matter of fact, Paul picked this up in the book of Colossians chapter 3 verse 5 when he said that therefore put to death your members which are on the earth, fornications, uncleanness, passion, evil desire, covetousness, which is idolatry. Greed and idolatry. Now, we are not talking about a bad habit or a character flaw. We're talking about greed and idolatry, and that is the weight of what Jesus is warning us about. But when I think about it, there is another thing. Jesus did not call mammon a temptation. He did not call mammon a distraction. Jesus called mammon a master. The word he uses, serve, is the language of slavery, of complete devotion, of total allegiance. What Jesus says, saying that mammon does not just tempt you to make bad financial decisions. He said that mammon positions itself as Lord over our life. He makes demands, he set the agenda, he tells us what to fear, what to pursue, what to sacrifice for. And the terrifying thing is, most people who are serving mammon don't even know that they are serving mammon. Why? Because mammon does not present itself as a false god. Mammon presents itself as a common sense. Be responsible. Be smart. Protect yourself. Plan ahead. Now, don't get me wrong. All those things that I mentioned, they are not wrong in themselves. They're actually good things. But mammon take those things and make them the engine room of your entire life until the question you are really asking every day is not how can I honor God, but how can I protect and grow what I have. I can testify because I have operated like that in the past for so many years. And when we look at it on a grand scheme of things, this is not just a personal struggle. This is a systematic, global, spiritual reality. The spirit of Mammon has shaped entire economies, entire culture, entire value system. We now live in a world, or we live in a world that measures a human worth by net worth, that defines success with accumulation and possession, that tell you from the moment you wake up that more is always better, that security is always financial, and that the good life is the wealthy life. But that's not the world. That is Mammon speaking through the world. And Jesus knew this, which is why, right after warning us about Mammon, he goes on straight into talking to us about anxiety, which we find in the book of Matthew 6 verse 25, when he says this: "Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, or not about your body, what you will put on." That restless fear about whether you will have enough, that's not just worry. Someone I spoke to actually put it this way. He says that it is the psychological signature of a life lived under Mammon. And Timothy put it plainly in his book in 1 Timothy 6:10, when he says that the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. It is through this craving that some have wandered away from the faith. Wandered away from the faith. Not just made bad financial choices, wandered away from God. And that is a grip of Mammon. And that's where we are. Mammon is not just money. Mammon is a spiritual force, is a rival lord that organizes your life around wealth as the ultimate source of security and meaning. And Jesus named it. He called it a master. And he said to us, we cannot serve both God or Mammon. So my question today is this: which master will you serve? God bless you.